Indie games don't always have huge budgets or big studios behind them, but man, some of them hit so hard. Today, I'm gonna show you the 20 greatest indie games of all time. Games that proved you don't need a big team to make something special. Whether it's for the story, the style, or just pure fun, these games deserve a spot in your library. Night in the Woods. So here's the deal. You play as May, this college dropout cat. Yeah, everyone's an animal, but they talk and act like real people. May comes back to her small hometown called Possum Springs, and everything feels weird. Like stuff's changed, but also kind of stayed the same. It's that weird small town energy where nothing ever really moves forward. You walk around, talk to your old friends, hang out, kill time, but there's this low-key sadness to it all. May's not okay and she knows it, but she's not sure what to do. Her friends are all dealing with their own stuff too. One's stuck in a dead-end job, one's taking care of his family after his mom died, another's trying to be tough, but you can tell she's barely holding it together. Even the town itself feels alive. You just wander around, climb rooftops, explore weird little places, see the same people going about their boring lives, and somehow, it all matters. The way they build the world is so chill, but so rich at the same time. Like every corner has a little story hiding there. It doesn't tell you everything straight up either, you kind of piece it together, and that makes it feel more personal, like you're figuring it out on your own. And yeah, there's a mystery going on too, like weird stuff starts happening, people going missing, strange figures in the woods, but honestly even that part kind of takes a backseat to just living. That's what the game's about, really. Just being alive and trying to make sense of it. Sometimes that's scary, sometimes it's boring, sometimes it's kind of funny. It's hard to explain, but Night in the Woods feels like hanging out inside someone's head. A little messy and kind of dark. So honestly, I really recommend you guys to check this game out for yourself. It's one of the most unique games out there. Cuphead. First time I saw it, I thought it was just some artsy little side scroller with old cartoon vibes, you know, like those weird black and white cartoons they used to show back in the day. Mickey Mouse style, but kinda creepy if you look close. But then I played it and man, this thing ain't cute. Like yeah, sure, it looks like a 1930s cartoon. Everything's hand-drawn, literally frame by frame, and that's already crazy, but when you actually sit down and try to play it, that's when you realize you've entered some kind of old school boss rush hell. No joke, this game does not mess around. You die fast, and you die a lot. And I'm not talking like, oops, I messed up once. Nah, you will restart the same boss fight 20 times and still get bodied on phase 3. Dude, the bosses are completely insane. You got a big blue blob bouncing around like it drank too much Red Bull, a flower that turns into a freaking demon, a candy queen summoning giant lollipops to slap you across the screen. It's like someone took a coloring book and cranked the nightmare meter all the way up, and they don't just look cool, they move cool. Every boss has these little animations and patterns, like they're alive. You start to memorize their moves like it's a dance, except the dance keeps changing and sometimes punches you in the face. But the thing is, that's what makes it fun. You lose a lot, yeah, but when you finally beat one, that's the kind of joy that feels earned. Like straight up dopamine shot to the brain. You just sit there like, oh my god, I actually did it. I'm a beast. Even though you know you're gonna get destroyed by the next boss 5 seconds later. Honestly, Cuphead isn't for everyone. Like if you hate dying over and over, you'll probably rage quit in 10 minutes. But if you're into that old school tough as nails gameplay where every win actually feels like you earned it, then dude, this game's a masterpiece. And the wild part? It was made by a super small team, like barely any people. They literally put a second mortgage on their house to finish the game. So that's some real passion right there. Inside. From the second you boot it up, it just feels different. No menus, no intro, no tutorial, you're just a little boy running through the woods and immediately you're like, yo, why is this so creepy? There's no talking, no music blasting, nothing flashy, but the atmosphere is thick, like heavy. You can feel something's wrong even if the game never explains it straight up. The whole world in Inside is kind of cold and dead. Gray skies, empty buildings, weird science stuff going on in the background. Everything feels sterile and lifeless. Except you. You're this tiny kid just trying to survive survive. And the world around you, yeah, it wants you dead. Guards will shoot you, dogs will chase you, machines will crush you if you mess up even a little. It's brutal, but it's not just for shock. It's all super deliberate. What's crazy is, even with no dialogue and no real story spelled out, the game tells so much. Like, you start wondering, who is this kid? Why are there mind-controlled people walking around like zombies? What's this factory doing? Why does this place even exist? And yeah, the puzzles are smart but never annoying. Everything's super smooth, tight, and clean. You never feel stuck for too long, and when you solve something, it just clicks. The way they design stuff is genius. No hand-holding, but always guiding you through clever design. It feels natural, like your brain just figures it out because of how well it's all put together. Inside is short, like maybe 3-4 hours, but it doesn't waste a single second. It's one of those games that just sits in your brain after it's done. You'll be thinking about what it meant, what really happened, and whether that final moment was a win or just another kind of trap. It's haunting, quiet, messed up, and low-key kind of genius. This is one of those indie games that proves you don't need a giant open world or dialogue trees or a massive budget to leave a mark. Sometimes all it takes is silence, shadows, and a kid running for his life. Hollow Knight. Now this one's a whole experience, man. Like, it's not just some side scroller with bugs or whatever. This thing feels like stepping into a forgotten world that's way bigger and deeper than you expected. You start playing it, and before you know it, boom, you're 30 hours deep, lost in underground tunnels trying to piece together this sad, beautiful world that barely even talks to you. It throws you right into the deep end. No map at first, no guidance, no bright arrows telling you where to go. Just you, a tiny little bug dude with a nail for a sword, dropped into this massive kingdom that's kind of falling apart. The vibe is quiet, lonely, but weirdly peaceful too. It's got that eerie beauty going on, like ruins that still whisper about the glory days they used to have. Exploration is where this game really shines though. The world is just insane. It keeps opening up in ways you didn't expect. Hidden paths, secret rooms, fast travel stations that feel like lifesavers. You get new abilities like wall jumping, dashing, double jumping, and suddenly areas you thought were dead ends become brand new again. It's that perfect loop of exploring, upgrading, unlocking, and then diving back in deeper. What really gets you though is the feeling this game gives off. It's quiet but emotional. There's tragedy baked into everything. Like, the kingdom's already fallen and you're just walking through the wreckage trying to figure out what went wrong. You meet these characters along the way, some weird, some sweet, some just straight up creepy. And most of them feel like they're hanging on by a thread. You feel that loneliness in the air, like everyone's just trying to survive in a place that forgot how to live. Celeste. On the surface, it looks like just another cute pixel platformer, right? Girl climbs mountain, jumps around, does some cool air dashes, maybe grabs a few collectibles. But man, that's just the outer layer. Underneath all that is one of the most real, raw, emotional stories you'll ever see in a video game, and it's all wrapped up in some of the tightest gameplay out there. You play as Madeline, and she's trying to climb this mountain called Celeste, but the mountain ain't just a bunch of rocks and snow. It's basically a giant metaphor for all the stuff she's going through mentally. Anxiety, self-doubt, fear of failure, imposter syndrome, all that heavy real-life stuff. And the game doesn't sugarcoat any of it, it just lays it all out, but in a way that feels honest, not preachy. Like you're really climbing that mountain with her, fighting through your own stuff as you go. Now, let's talk about the platforming. Holy hell, it's clean. Everything in Celeste feels so precise. You can jump, climb, and do this mid-air dash move that becomes your bread and butter. It's simple to learn, but man, the way they build on it through each chapter is genius. New mechanics show up constantly, wind pushing you around, moving platforms, weird jellyfish bounce pads, and they're always introduced in smart little ways before turning the difficulty dial up to 11. And yeah, it's hard, no way around that, you're gonna die a lot. lot, like thousands of times. But here's the cool part, it never feels punishing. Death is just part of the rhythm. You die, you're back in instantly, no loading screen, no guilt trip. It actually encourages you to keep going, to push a little further each time, and when you finally clear that room you've been stuck on for like 15 minutes, it's such a rush, you feel unstoppable. Undertale. This game came out of nowhere and somehow flipped the whole damn RPG genre on its head and made you feel things along the way. It's one of those weird little games that looks super basic on the outside, like it legit looks like an old school Game Boy game half the time, but the stuff it does with that simple look. So in Undertale, you're this kid who falls into the underground world of monsters. Typical setup, right? But instead of just grinding through enemies like every other RPG, Undertale hits you with a question right out of the gate. What if you didn't have to kill anyone? Like, at all. You can literally finish the whole game without hurting a single enemy, and the way it plays with that idea is just perfect. Combat feels like a turn-based RPG mashed up with a bullet hell game. Yeah, I know that sounds weird, but it works. You choose actions like fight or act, and during enemy attacks, you dodge little white projectiles in a tiny box. It's simple but creative as hell, and every enemy has its own little quirks, personality, and attack patterns. You can flirt with a skeleton, pet a dog so hard it flies into space, or just talk your way out of fights entirely. The game's like, you want to be weird? Go for it. But here's the part that really sticks with people. The choices matter, not in that fake illusion of choice way like some games do, but for real. If you kill even one creature, the game remembers. And if you go full psycho and wipe everyone out, the world reacts, characters call you out, the tone shifts, and the game knows. It gets under your skin and it's not afraid to make you uncomfortable. Stardew Valley. So picture this, you're stuck in a dead-end office job, drowning in emails and fluorescent light, and suddenly, boom, you inherit your grandpa's old farm in this chill little town called Pelican Town. And you're like, yeah, screw spreadsheets, I'm out. That's Stardew Valley in a nutshell. It's a cozy little farming sim, sure, but it's also a game about escaping burnout, building a new life, and just slowing down. But don't let the pixel art and laid-back vibe fool you. This game has depth, like serious depth. You start with a mess of a farm, tools that suck, and zero clue what you're doing. Then you just kinda start planting stuff, watering, cleaning up, talking to the locals, fishing, mining, upgrading. Next thing you know, it's 3 AM and you've been playing for 9 hours straight. There's something super addictive about how Stardew works. Every in-game day lasts around 15 minutes, and there's always just one more thing you want to do before bed. Chop some trees, plant some melons, check the weather, pet your chickens. It sneaks up on you like that. Now, what makes it more than just a farming game is the people. The villagers in Pelican Town aren't just background noise, they've got stories, problems, secrets. You can befriend them, romance them, give them gifts, go to their birthday parties. Some are sweet, some are a little weird, and some have some surprisingly real struggles like alcoholism or depression. Yeah, Stardew goes there. In between planting parsnips, you're helping real people feel seen, and then there's the freedom. Want to be a full-time fisherman? Go for it. Want to ignore your farm and just mine for loot all day? Do it. Want to grow an empire of artisan goods and cheese wheels? Absolutely. The game never pressures you to play one way. It's all about doing what feels right, and the world just gently supports you. Hades. You play as Zagreus, the snarky, rebellious son of Hades, who's basically like, screw this place, I'm out, and starts trying to escape the underworld over and over again because, yeah, it's a roguelike, you die a lot, but the thing is, dying's part of the fun here. Every run through the underworld is this wild, action-packed sprint through rooms full of monsters, traps, and boss fights. You dash, you slash, you shoot, you cast magic. It's fast, responsive, and super tight, and what makes it extra addicting is that every single run is different. The Greek gods themselves, Zeus, Athena, Poseidon, you name it, send you these little boons mid-run that change how you play. One run you're stacking lightning damage, the next you're dashing through enemies with fire. You never know what build you're gonna end up with, and that's what keeps it spicy. But what really makes Hades special, and I mean really, is how much story it packs into a roguelike. Like most games in this genre are just go, die, repeat. Not here. Every time you die and go back to the House of Hades, people react, they talk to you, they remember stuff. Characters grow, relationships change, little pieces of the story unfold over time, and it's so smooth and natural you don't even realize how much narrative is happening until you're deep in it. Zagreus isn't just some blank silent dude either. He's got charm, he's got sass, and he's got real motivation. Trying to break free, sure, but also trying to figure out the truth about his family. And yeah, the family drama in this game, messy in the best way. You've got gods beefing, gods flirting, gods being petty. It's like one big immortal soap opera and you're stuck in the middle. Shovel Knight. So you're this knight, obviously, but instead of a sword or an axe or something boring like that, you're rocking a freaking shovel. And it's not just for digging. You're pogo jumping off enemies, smacking dudes in the face, breaking blocks, and just straight up styling on fools with it. It's silly, but also slick as hell. The controls feel so good. Tight, fast, snappy. It's one of those games where if you die, it's your fault, not the game, which makes every win feel super earned. But what makes Shovel Knight stand out even more is how much heart it has. Like, yeah, it's goofy and colorful and has bosses with names like King Knight and Tinker Knight, but there's a real story buried in there too. Shovel Knight's on a mission to save his lost partner Shield Knight, and it's actually touching. There's a dream sequence that keeps coming back throughout the game where you catch her while she's falling, and every time it hits a little harder, it sneaks up on you with that emotional punch. Disco Elysium. Here in Disco Elysium, like, there's just nothing else like it. It's not about fighting or collecting loot or doing some big boss battles. You don't even have a combat system in the normal sense. It's basically a detective game, but one that feels like it's alive and constantly messing with your brain. You're dropped into this cold, broken down city that kind of feels like it gave up on everything, and your character fits right in. You wake up in a motel room, completely trashed, underwear hanging off a ceiling fan, mirror busted, everything spinning, and the dude has no clue who he even is. Like full-on memory wipe. No name, no past, just confusion and a hangover that probably lasted a whole week. And then you're told there's a dead body hanging behind the building and you're the cop who's supposed to deal with it? That's where it all starts. But what really makes it hit different is how the game plays. Instead of fighting, you're talking a lot. But it's not boring. The writing is next level. Every little choice you make, every conversation, feels like it shapes who you're becoming. And your brain, this is the wild part, your brain is broken up into different voices, like actual voices in your head that pop in during conversations. Logic, empathy, authority, drama, even things like Inland Empire or electrochemistry, they all talk to you, give you advice, argue, try to take over. It's like having 24 personalities just chilling in your head and you kinda gotta listen and choose who to trust. Some parts are deep and kinda sad. You'll see people who've been through stuff, real stuff, poverty, trauma, politics, war, the city's falling apart, people are angry, tired, surviving. But then the game also throws in weird, funny, even straight up trippy moments, like trying to have a staring contest with a necktie, or telling a kid to stop cussing by using a philosophy lecture, and somehow it all blends together and just works. It's one of those games where the more you put into it, the more it gives back. You can play it safe and play by the book, or you can totally go off the rails and roleplay a sad mess of a man with wild ideas and a heart full of guilt. And the best part, the game rolls with it. It never forces you into one type of story. You shape the story by just being you, or whatever version of you you want to be in that moment.
On the sea.
Dead Cells. Alright, so Dead Cells is one of those games that just feels good to play. It's got this super slick, fast-paced action where you're constantly dashing, dodging, jumping, and smacking enemies with whatever crazy weapon you picked up that run. And that's the thing, each run is totally different. You start fresh every time, and the game throws random weapons, skills, and layouts at you, so you're always adjusting your playstyle. It keeps you on your toes without ever feeling unfair. There's no hand-holding here. If you mess up, that's on you, but that's what makes it addicting. You start off kind of rough, dying a lot, not knowing what the hell's going on, but then little by little you get better. You figure out enemy patterns, you learn which weapons click with your style, you unlock permanent upgrades, new routes, and shortcuts. It's one of those games where you feel yourself improving just by playing more, not by grinding XP or gear. The combat is super satisfying, everything's got weight to it. Whether you're using twin daggers, a giant broadsword, electric whips, bows, turrets, or even weird stuff like a meat grinder, you always feel like you're doing damage. And when you nail a combo of dodges, stuns, and kills without taking a hit, it's straight up rewarding. Pure muscle memory, no fluff. Visually, it's a treat too. The pixel art is clean but detailed with moody lighting and slick animations. Every biome has a totally different vibe, like toxic sewers, burning castles, frozen towers, all packed with cool enemy designs that keep things fresh. The soundtrack, it goes way harder than you'd expect. Some tracks are all intense and chaotic, others are chill and kinda haunting. It sets the mood perfectly without trying too hard. There's not much of a story, but honestly, that's not what Dead Cells is about. There's some light world building, little notes, bits of lore, but you can ignore all that and just focus on the action, and that's why this game works so well. It doesn't overload you with cutscenes or explanations, it just drops you in and says, go, survive. Slay the Spire. So Slay the Spire looks pretty chill on the surface, just cards and some monsters, right? But once you get into it, this game grabs you. It's got that sneaky, just one more run thing going on, where you're building a deck, climbing a tower, and trying not to totally fall apart by the time you reach the next boss. You start by picking a character, and each one plays completely differently. Like, one is all about poison and sneaky tricks, another's a tank who builds a block and hits like a truck, and one even channels magic orbs and stacks powers like crazy. You don't just throw cards around, you build a strategy. Every card you pick, every relic you grab, even which path you take on the map, it all matters. And one bad call can mess up your whole run, but when things line up, you feel like a genius. What makes it so addictive is how deep it gets without being complicated. You can get really into the math, the combos, the synergies, or you can just wing it and have fun. It's kind of like chess mixed with poker, strategy, and luck constantly dancing around. No two runs are the same. One run you're dropping 100 damage in one turn, the next you're clinging on with 1 HP and praying for a miracle draw. The art is kind of weird at first, not bad, just different, but it grows on you. It's got this quirky, almost hand-drawn vibe, and the designs are memorable, the enemies are strange but cool, the relics all have wild effects, and the map layout feels like you're plotting a real journey. And the game doesn't waste your time, it respects it. No filler, no long intros, no fluff, just gameplay, straight up. You jump in, pick your path, and start battling. There's no heavy story, but it doesn't need one. The mystery of the Spire, the weird rooms, the strange events, it's just enough flavor to keep you curious. Hotline Miami. You play as this silent guy, people call him Jacket, and the game throws you into these violent, drug-fueled missions where you break into buildings and wipe out everyone inside. One hit and you're dead, but same goes for the enemies. So it's not about charging in, it's about planning, reacting, retrying, and then eventually doing it all in one smooth, perfect run. And when you pull that off, it feels insanely good. The gameplay is twitchy and super tight, you bust open doors, throw weapons, shoot, stab, and just cause total chaos. But you gotta be fast and smart. It's kinda like solving a bloody real-time puzzle, where the pieces are baseball bats and shotguns, and yeah, it gets frustrating sometimes, but it's the good kind of frustrating. You wanna keep retrying, cause every fail teaches you something new. And the story, it's super trippy. Don't expect things to be straightforward. There's weird phone calls, creepy animal masks talking to you, and moments where you question whether anything is even real. It's like a dream that's gone off the rails, but in a cool, unsettling way. It messes with your head without trying too hard. Hotline Miami is also one of those games that helped define what indie games could be. It's raw, stylish, doesn't hold your hand, and doesn't care if it makes you uncomfortable. It just is what it is, and if you're into fast action, cool music, and weird stories, it hits hard. Oxenfree.
Getting to know somebody new.
Yeah, fun. An excuse to hit
You
run.
play as Alex, a teenage girl heading to an old military island with some friends for a night of partying. Sounds harmless, right? But then you tune into some strange radio frequencies and things start to get messed up. Time loops, ghost signals, creepy voices. It turns from a hangout into this full-on supernatural mind trip. What makes Oxenfree really shine is how natural the dialogue feels. The way the characters talk sounds like actual teens, not forced or cheesy. They joke, argue, cut each other off. It's all super fluid and real. You're not just picking lines from a list either. You walk around and talk at the same time, so it flows like a real conversation. No stiff pauses, no weird waiting, just people talking while spooky stuff's happening in the background. The gameplay isn't about fighting or puzzles, it's about exploring, choosing what to say, and slowly uncovering this freaky hidden story behind the island. Your choices actually matter too. Relationships shift, people remember things differently, and you can get a bunch of different endings depending on how you handle stuff. It's subtle, but it hits emotionally, especially if you play through more than once.
To stations that don't exist. Oh my god.
Firewatch.
Maybe I'm...
You play as Henry. His life's kind of falling apart, so he takes a job watching for fires in a big forest in Wyoming. He's up in this little tower all summer, no real contact with anyone except for a woman named Delilah. She talks to him through a walkie-talkie. That's it, no face-to-face stuff, just voices. But those chats, they feel real. Funny sometimes, other times really heavy. The way they talk feels natural, like you're just listening to two people get to know each other, mess up, connect, drift apart, or maybe not. You choose how Henry responds, and that shapes how close they get. The forest itself looks beautiful, not in a fancy way, more like a painting. Colors shift with time of day. You'll see pink skies, orange trees, soft shadows. It's peaceful, but also a little lonely. You're just walking around, checking things out, doing small tasks. And weird stuff starts happening. You find notes, locked doors. Maybe someone's watching you. It never gets full horror or anything, but it adds a quiet tension. It keeps you thinking. But really the mystery isn't the main thing. It's more about what's going on inside Henry's head. What he's running from. What he's not saying out loud. A whole game takes maybe 4 or 5 hours. And when it ends, you'll probably sit there thinking for a while. Not cause of some twist, just cause it makes you feel something. Regret, maybe. Or just the weirdness of being alone. If you like calm games that still leave a mark, this one's worth it. It doesn't waste your time, it just gives you space to feel something.
People take this job to get away from something. So what's wrong?
Everything's fine, just getting some fresh air.
Well, escaping isn't always something bad.
Papers, please. Though here's the thing, Papers, Please doesn't look like much at first. The art's super simple, kind of old school, and dull on purpose. You're just a dude in a tiny immigration booth checking people's passports. No big explosions, no wild combat, no fancy cutscenes. But man, the longer you play, the more it gets under your skin, like way deeper than you'd expect. You work for this fictional communist country called Arstatska, and every day you're sitting there at the border deciding who can come in and who can't. People walk up, hand you their documents, and your job is to double check everything. Is the name spelled right? Is the expiration date still good? Does the photo match their face? And at first it feels kind of like a weird little puzzle. Very routine, very dry. But that's the trick. The game wants you to feel like just a tiny part of a giant system. You're not the hero, you're not saving the world. You're just trying to survive and not get fired. Because if you mess up too much, they dock your pay. And if your pay goes down, you might not be able to feed your family or keep the heat on. So you're already playing with this low-key pressure all the time. And then the game starts throwing curveballs, like maybe someone shows up and says, please let me through, I'm escaping abuse. Or my husband just passed. He's ahead of me in line, I need to be with him, but their papers aren't right. So what do? Follow the rules and let them suffer? Or help them and take the hit? And those hits add up. You can't save everyone. Sometimes you help someone and get punished. Sometimes you turn someone away and feel like garbage for the rest of the day. It starts messing with your head. You don't get to sit back and relax. You're constantly thinking not just about logic and rules, but about right and wrong, about who gets to live a better life and who doesn't. And that's a crazy thing for a little pixel art game to make you feel. The world outside your booth also keeps changing. There's violence, bombings, sketchy government policies, even people trying to smuggle stuff across the border. Some folks show up with fake documents that are just good enough to trick you. Others are honest but poor. And the more days go by, the heavier it all feels. There's even a branching story, multiple endings depending on how you played it. You might help a resistance group, you might stay loyal to the state, or maybe you just try to keep your head down and survive. And honestly, there's no perfect path. Every choice kind of sucks in its own way, which makes the game feel a lot more real. What remains of Edith Finch? You play as Edith, the last living member of this super unlucky family, the Finches. She's come back to her old, creaky house to figure out what the hell happened to everyone. And I don't mean like some basic what happened mystery. I mean, you literally explore the lives and deaths of every family member through these short, creative little story segments. Each one feels like its own mini game with its own rules and art style and tone. Like one moment you're playing as a kid pretending to be a monster, and the next you're slicing fish while your mind drifts into a full-on fantasy world. It's wild how different each section feels, but somehow it all fits together perfectly. The real magic here is how it uses gameplay to tell the story, not just with dialogue or text, but with how you play. Like there's this one level where a character is dealing with mental illness, and the way the controls split between a dull job and a daydream slowly taking over, it's straight up genius. You don't just hear what they're going through, you feel it.
And he won.
The house itself is a huge part of the vibe too. It's like this big, strange, overstuffed museum of memories. Every room is sealed off like a shrine, frozen in time, and when you finally get into each one, it tells you so much about the person who lived there without saying a word. Their hobbies, their fears, how they died. It's sad, but also kind of cozy, like you're walking through a family photo album that's falling apart but still full of love. And yeah, this game's sad. Let's not sugarcoat it. Almost every story ends with someone dying, but somehow it never feels cheap or edgy, it's just honest. Some of the deaths are peaceful, some are weird, some are just plain tragic, but they all feel human. And the way Edith processes it all, how she keeps searching for meaning even when it feels hopeless, it's beautiful.
This is where your story begins.
Journey. So Journey, man, where do you even start? This one's hard to describe without sounding kinda cheesy, but it really is something special. It's super simple on the surface. You're just this little robed character in the middle of a huge desert, walking toward a glowing mountain in the distance. No talking, no text, no tutorial, nothing. Just vibes. But that's exactly what makes it powerful. You're just moving, sliding down dunes, walking through windstorms, climbing old ruins. There's no combat, no fail state. The world is quiet, almost meditative, but it never gets boring because every new area has its own look and sound and feeling. The sand glows like gold, the music swells perfectly with your movement, and every now and then, you just stop to take it all in. Here's where it gets kinda crazy though. As you're playing, you might run into another player. No name, no voice, no gamer tag, just another robed traveler walking the same path. You can't talk to each other, you can only use this little chirp noise to communicate, and yet somehow that's enough. You might help each other fly, or solve a puzzle, or just walk side by side for a while. And when that happens, it hits different. Like, it's weird how much you start to care about this random stranger, even without a single word. That whole mechanic, the anonymous co-op, it's low-key genius. Some players finish the whole game solo, others end up with a buddy they stick with the entire time, and if you do that, you kind of feel this unspoken bond by the end. It's emotional in a way you don't expect from a game with no dialogue. The game's also short, like maybe 90 minutes, but it's meant to be that way. It's one smooth, flowing experience from start to finish. The way it builds up, from peaceful sand sliding to intense storms and emotional highs, it almost feels like a silent movie or a dream. The ending? No spoilers, but it's emotional as hell. Hopeful, bittersweet, kind of spiritual even, and it sticks with you long after you finish. And yeah, people have tried to copy this kind of thing since then, but Journey just nails the whole less is more idea. It doesn't shove story in your face. It lets you feel the story through the atmosphere, through how the world changes, through how you move through it. That's rare. Darkest Dungeon. This game doesn't just test you, it breaks you. You think you're signing up for a gothic turn-based dungeon crawler, but no, you're actually stepping into a psychological horror disguised as an RPG. Your heroes don't just fight, they suffer. Every dungeon run is a slow descent into madness, and you're just trying to keep the party together. Every decision feels like life or death, and sometimes the game just decides you're gonna lose anyway. And upon permanent deaths, it's all gone, all the investments vanish. But here's the thing, when you do succeed, when you bring back a battered but breathing party, when you finally slay that major enemy, you don't beat Darkest Dungeon, you survive it. Darkest Dungeons is one of those games that is highly addictive because you will die many times and that pain carry you on to one last try before you sleep. That's it, this cycle keeps going on until you complete the game. Fish paranoid or just give up. Or sometimes they'll power through and become stronger from the trauma. You never fully know. For the combat. Turn-based, pretty strategic, but tight. It's not about spamming attacks, it's about positioning, timing, and knowing when to cut your losses, because yeah, you will lose people. A lot. And it hurts. You level up a character, get attached, they carry you through like 5 missions, and then boom! One bad crit, one mistake, and they're gone for good. No revives, no safety nets, just a gravestone. And the game doesn't let up. It's moody, grim, and constantly whispering, hey, everything's gonna go to hell eventually. The narrator, this deep, haunting voice, is always there, reminding you how hopeless everything is. But it's not just dark for the sake of being dark. There's something kind of honest about how it shows stress, fear, and human weakness. Even heroes have breaking points. This is not a game you beat easily. It's more like a grind, a war of attrition. Some players bounce off it because it's so harsh and random. Others get obsessed, trying to build the perfect team, learn every trick, master every dungeon. But even then, it still finds a way to slap you. Katana ZERO. Katana ZERO looks like a fast-paced action game at first glance, and yeah, it definitely is. It's super fast, super sharp, and the combat feels amazing. You're this silent killer with a katana who can slow down time and see the future just a few seconds ahead. Every level plays out like a puzzle mixed with a fight. You plan your moves, time everything just right, and slice your way through rooms full of enemies. It's smooth, like really smooth. One hit and you're dead, but that's part of the fun. It's all about trial and error, learning patterns, and pulling off the perfect run. And when you finally do, it feels badass. But here's the real thing. The game is doing a lot more than just being stylish. The story gets deep. You start out thinking you're just some cool assassin guy doing jobs and going home, but as you keep playing, the game starts messing with your head. You start having weird dreams, flashbacks, conversations that don't feel normal. Your character goes to therapy after every mission, like actual sessions where you choose what to say. Sometimes the doctor feels like he's helping, other times it's creepy. Then there's the drug. They call it Chronos. It's what lets you slow time and see the future, but it's also messing with your brain. You start questioning if what you're seeing is real, people talk to you like they know more than they should, scenes play out differently if you say the wrong thing. It's not just an action game, it's psychological. It gets under your skin. The art style is pixel-based, but full of detail. It's not just basic retro. There are dynamic lighting effects, reflections, blood splatter, weather. It all adds to the mood. The colors shift depending on what's going on. If things get tense, the screen might go red. If something's off, the world literally starts to distort. It's subtle, but smart. The game feels unstable at times, on purpose, to match the character's mind. The Stanley Parable.
Whoa there, cowboy! Stanley began screaming. You've destroyed
The Stanley Parable is weird, but the kind of weird that makes you sit back and go, wait, what? Over and over again. You're this guy named Stanley. You work at an office, you push buttons on a screen because the screen tells you to. One day, the commands stop. No more instructions, no more boss voice, just silence. So Stanley stands up and leaves his desk. And that's where it starts. The entire game is built around choice, but not in the usual way. There's no combat, no puzzles, no objectives on the screen. It's just you walking through this empty corporate building while a narrator talks over everything you do. Like, literally everything. Stanley walked through the door on his left, he says, but maybe you go through the door on the right instead. And now the narrator's like, Stanley was clearly making a mistake and keeps trying to steer you back on track. And that's the whole trick of it. You're constantly reacting to this voice, either obeying it or pushing against it, and depending on what you do, the story branches in totally different directions. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's kind of creepy, sometimes it just ends suddenly and you're back at the beginning like it never happened. That's what this game is, one big loop where you keep trying different things just to see what breaks next.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to
And the game wants you to break it. It rewards you for being curious. If you think, hey, what if I jump off this platform? The game's like, yeah, sure, go ahead, let's see what happens. And what happens is always unexpected. The endings go all over the place. There's one where you escape, one where you die, one where you blow everything up, one where you just sit in a broom closet forever while the narrator gets mad at you for doing nothing. It's chaos, but it's smart chaos. Also, there's no true ending, no win or lose. The whole idea is to keep poking the game until you've seen enough to start forming your own meaning. It's more of a thought experiment than a traditional game, but that's what makes it great. You've ever felt like games treat you like a robot doing exactly what the devs expect? The Stanley Parable is the exact opposite. It dares you to ignore the rules, and even when you do, it laughs and says, cool, now what?
job. You did it. Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces.
Kentucky Route Zero. Kentucky Route Zero isn't really a game you play in the usual way. It's more like stepping into someone's dream. Slow, strange, quiet, but also kind of beautiful in a haunting way. Imagine a dusty highway at night, headlights cutting through fog, and somewhere off the road, a dog wearing a straw hat is just sitting there. That's the vibe. You're Conway, a delivery guy trying to make one last drop before retiring. Sounds simple, right? But then things start bending. Like, reality doesn't fully work here. Roads lead to impossible places, people talk in riddles, and the places you visit feel stuck in time. The deeper you go, the less it feels like a job and more like a surreal trip through forgotten corners of America. There's no combat, no puzzles, no game overs, just conversations, choices, and slow exploration. And those choices don't change the story like in some other games. They're more like adding your flavor to the story. Who Conway talks to, what he says, how people remember him. It all creates this personal version of the journey. The game is broken into 5 acts and each one gets more abstract, but at the same time it somehow feels more grounded. Like, it's less about the weirdness and more about the people going through it. Conway's story starts out about delivering antiques, but over time it's really about loss, addiction, memory, and how people survive in a country that forgets them. Return of the Obra Dinn. So here's the deal. You're an insurance investigator in the 1800s, and this big-ass ship, the Obra Dinn, drifts back into port with no one alive on board. Everyone's either missing or dead. Your job? Figure out who all these people were, how they died, and, if possible, why. That's it. No magic powers, no action scenes, just you, a notebook, a ship map, and this weird pocket watch that shows you the exact moment someone died. sounds simple, but nah. This thing is a full-blown logic puzzle from hell, in the best way. Each death scenes you unlock freezes a moment in time, like a 3D photo. People are mid-scream, falling, getting stabbed, shot, crushed, eaten by a kraken. Yeah, it gets real. You move through that frozen moment and study everything. Accents, uniforms, tattoos, positions, relationships, and slowly, piece by piece, you connect the dots. Like, okay, this guy was standing here and he called that guy brother, and that dude has a Russian accent, so maybe... There's no random guessing either. The game knows if you're just fumbling. It only locks in your answers when you get 3 of them exactly right, which pushes you to be damn sure before committing. And when those clicks happen, when you suddenly realize who someone is based on one tiny clue you missed before, it feels so good. Like, proper detective level satisfying. Visually, it looks like something out of a chunky old Mac screen, monochrome, pixelated, and honestly kinda ugly at first glance, but once you settle into it, that style works. It feels cold, isolated, fitting since you're basically walking through a floating tomb. It's definitely not for everyone. If you hate thinking or get bored without flashy stuff, skip it, but if you like piecing together a mystery with zero hand-holding, if you enjoy that aha moment when it all finally clicks, then this thing might honestly be one of the smartest games you'll ever play. No fluff, no BS, just brains and a boat full of secrets.
Here, let me help you. What madness is this?
A Hat in Time. Hat in Time feels like one of those lost childhood games you somehow didn't grow up with but wish you did. It's super colorful, weirdly wholesome, kinda chaotic, and full of that Saturday morning cartoon energy, but don't let the cute look fool you. There's some serious game design behind all the fluff. You play as Hat Kid. Yeah, that's her name. She's this tiny little girl with a big hat and a spaceship. She's on her way home through space when suddenly she loses all her fuel, these glowing hourglasses called time pieces, and they scatter across this random planet. So now she's stuck. And of course, the only way to get her ship working again is to jump down and collect them. Pretty basic setup, but from here, the game goes nuts in all the right ways. Each world you visit feels like it's from a totally different game. One's a goofy mafia town where everyone talks like cartoon mobsters. Another's a haunted forest that's honestly kind of creepy, where a demon literally steals your soul and makes you do errands for him. Then there's a murder mystery on a train with owl detectives and a disco DJ. No joke, it swings hard between light and dark, funny and weird, but somehow it all fits. The movement is where it really shines though. Hat Kid's controls are super tight, like buttery smooth. You double jump, dive, wall climb, and swing around like it's nothing. It's got that same addicting feel that old school platformers like Mario Sunshine or Banjo-Kazooie had. Every jump just feels right. You unlock different hats that give you powers too, like a fast hat for speed boost, a witch hat for throwing bombs, a snow hat to freeze stuff. It adds a nice layer of variety without being confusing. And honestly, it's just fun. Like actual smile on your face for no reason kind of fun. The humor is dumb in a good way. The writing doesn't try to be deep or overly clever, it's just playful. The game knows it's silly and leans into it. But then, out of nowhere, it hits you with this calm moment, or some oddly emotional scene, and you're like, huh, that was kinda sweet. It's not perfect, some camera angles can be janky, and a couple missions drag a bit, but overall, this thing has heart. You can tell the devs loved making it. It's got that scrappy indie charm, but still feels polished enough to hang with the big names. If you ever liked classic 3D platformers but want something a little fresher with way more hats and way more chaos, this one's honestly a blast. Bottom line, it's goofy, it's sweet, it controls like a dream, and it doesn't waste your time, just pure bouncy fun.